So we are looking forward to have lots of constructive and also the feedbacks which would be helping us in future to plan it or revise the course content and even the pedagogy and all that. But I'm hopeful that this course is going to be an interesting one for all of you. Yeah, if we have time to discuss in the latter half, we'd like to hear from you what are your expectations as Professor Mishra was just proposing this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nayak. Professor Sunandan, would you like to say something?
Hopefully you are able to see me.
Yeah. I think your camera is very close to you. We can see mostly your eyes.
Yeah, basically there is a problem. So my mobile device is having a problem for some time. So hopefully that will not be a problem in future. I sincerely welcome all of you to this course, and I don't have much to add to what Professor PPC said, Professor Nayak and Professor Mishra said. So yeah, it will be a learning experience for myself as well. I'll be collaborating with Dr. Polash from Computer Science to participate in the third module of this course. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Ghosh. Professor Polash Day, would you like to say something?
Yeah, so I with Sunandan will teach the third module, which is economics part of the course, and I'll mostly cover the algorithmic aspects and computational aspects. And yeah, I'm sure you all will learn and will all enjoy. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank
So
you.
welcome to the course. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Polash. So, so the mode of the teaching is mostly going to be through this platform only. So this is like the MS Teams for the class, and yeah, like of course this is information you already know since you have joined here. So all the important announcements related to the class, say for example, scheduling of exams or postponement of any classes if the need arises, etc., will be sent to you both through email as well as it will be posted in this team. So that most of the lectures will be held online in this team by setting up meetings like this. However, in some cases, it may also happen that some pre-recorded lectures will be shared before the class, and the students in that case will be expected to watch them before coming to the class. So that is what is called the flipped classroom mode. Not all classes, in this course, there will be a mixture of both the kinds of things. In some of the, or I guess most of the lectures will be held live on, through this team. But in some cases, some of the faculty members may like to put up the lectures beforehand. Of course, they will let you know if they have done it, and then in that case they would ask you to watch the lecture beforehand and then come to the class so that we can have some discussions or maybe some quizzes based on those lectures. So if you are informed by the faculty that the pre-recorded lectures have been shared, then please watch them before coming to the class. Otherwise, the class will not be successful. The lecture timings, we are in the S slot. So the class, there will be 3 hours of lecture per week. So like all the lectures will be at this hour only, 5 to 6 p.m. on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. All the lecture recordings as well as the slides will be shared on this team under this files tab. So if you go, this is our team. So let's go here. Yeah, so if you go to this files tab, so here you can see several folders like this: class materials, class recordings, reading materials. So if you go to this class materials, you will be able to see the slides or the material or the main materials for that day's class. So for example, this is the PPT slides which I am showing right now. So as we proceed, we will keep on adding more and more these slides in these class materials. Plus, if there are some additional reference books or research papers or articles which you should read to understand better the content. Those will be shared in this reading materials. Right now this folder is empty, and apart from that, the recordings of the class will be shared in this class recording. It will be placed here. So regarding this class recording, so here is like a request to everyone. Whoever is teaching, whoever is taking the class, are requested to start the recording when they start the lecture. In case they forget to do so, any student may remind them to. When the recording is in progress, no student should try to stop the recording, because that will hamper the class. So please do not stop the recording. But if you see that the recording has
the TAs who will do the recording have been assigned last day, na? So the TAs will do the recording.
Okay, so if the TAs are like, if some TA
we assigned them last day, we said who will do the 4 modules. We have assigned each one TA per module. So that is fine.
Okay. So this course, now coming briefly to the course structure. So this whole course will have 4 modules. So module 1 is based on decision making. So it will be shared by Professor Pulok Mishra, Professor PCC, and Professor NC Nayak. So here in the decision making module, we will mostly deal with about how to design policies while we are where there are multiple constraints. So there are multiple criteria to be obtained. So when we design a policy, what we try to do basically is we are trying to optimize certain criteria. That is, we want such a policy which gives us the best results with respect to one particular criteria. Say, for example, when we are considering like what kind of intervention policies we should go for in case of COVID, then like one criteria which we are trying to optimize is of course to reduce the number of COVID cases or deaths caused by COVID. So that is the medical criteria. But so one way to reduce that or to optimize that criteria may be to go for prolonged lockdown, so that everyone stays at their home and nobody comes in contact with each other. So that way we can expect that the medical criteria will be satisfied. But is that a great idea? Probably not, because if everyone stays at home, then there will be economic losses. People will not get be able to earn their livelihood. They will not get food. Students will not get education, etc., etc. So while it is important to optimize the medical criteria, it is also at the same time also important to optimize the other criteria, such as the economic and social criteria. So that's what we call as a multi-criteria optimization. So whenever we try to formulate a policy, we may need to balance multiple constraints or satisfy multiple criteria as best as possible. It's possible that we will not be able to satisfy any single criteria perfectly, but we may be able to do a decent enough job in all the criteria. Or we maybe will not be able to find any solution which simultaneously satisfies all the criteria. In that case, we may have to give up on certain criteria while doing a better job on the other criteria. So what are the algorithms for which allow us to take these kinds of multi-criteria optimization? So those are some of the problems which we will be studying in module 1. And then this can become more complicated if such decisions have to be taken in real time. I mean, if we have a lot of data, then identifying what decisions could have been taken, like making an a posteriori computation, that is one thing. But typically we have to take decisions in real time, where we have only the past observations, but we do not know what will happen after this. So in the absence of the future knowledge, then what's the best that we can do? So, and then there can be various kinds of uncertainties also. We may not be able to observe all the things that we need to take the decisions. So how to account for all these kinds of uncertainties arising maybe out of missing data or noisy data, etc., and so on. So these are the various questions which we will try to answer in this module 1, which is related to decision making. Module 2 will be about learning from the data, and here most of the lectures will be taken by myself, that is Advay Mishra, and there will also be lectures from Professor Pulak Mishra. So, here basically, so suppose we have lots of observations in or past observations. Now, based on that, what kind of forecast can we make? So once again, if we consider the case of COVID, so suppose we have observed how many cases were recorded in the past 100 days or so. Then based on that, then can we predict what is going to happen in the next few days? Because we know that this follows some like a cyclical structure. There is a first wave which increases, which goes up, reaches a peak, and then gradually tapers off and finally subsides. Then there is a break period, and then the second wave takes off, and so on. So now, can we identify these kinds of patterns from the past observations and use based on that make some kind of a model which will enable us to make forecasts about the future? And if so, what kinds of models are those? And do all models work for all kinds of data? Or maybe if the data is numeric, then we need one kind of model. If they are non-numeric, then we may need another kind of model. For continuous data, we'll need some models, while for discrete data, we may need some other kinds of models, and so on. So understanding these models for building like which allow us to learn from past data and make forecasts, that is the main focus of this particular module. And then apart from that, there are also various side questions related to forecast. So suppose you are trying to make some forecast based on past data, then you have, again, in the past you may have observations about lots of things. That is, again, if we consider COVID, if we have some of the observations we have made about the past, maybe the number of cases. But apart from that, there are many other observations which we may have also made related to the, say, the past 100 days or so. That is, what were the intervention policies in place during these 100 days? Were the transport facilities running? Were the schools open? Were the offices open? Were international flights allowed? What kinds of economic activities were allowed? Were restaurants open? Were parlors open? Were cinema halls open? And all these data we have. Now, with so much data, we may try to make forecasts about the future, but all the data may not be relevant. It may turn out that although we have lots of data about the past, we do not actually need all of them to make predictions in the about the future. There may be certain important factors or certain driving criteria which really matters. The other things it may turn out don't really matter in predicting the future. So how do we identify those critical criteria? So that is another aspect which is to be considered in this module. And then again, the question of uncertainties will come up here. What is some of the observations we have, the past observations we have? What is some of them are noisy, or what is some of the observations are missing? Then can we build a model which is robust to such inaccuracies in the data? So that's about the module 2. Module 3 is about market games. So this will be taught mostly by Professor Sunandan Ghosh and Professor Palash De. So this will be more related to game theory and auctions, where there are multiple entities in a competitive environment who are trying to set the prices for some commodities which they want to sell. And then that is, how do they set the prices so that they like in a way that is both competitive as well as fair. And so we are all familiar with things like auctions, and we know the concept of bargaining and so on. Now, how to design such auctions or policies related to bargaining? Why and that is and how to ensure that when we are going for these kinds of competition, then how do we ensure that there is fairness in the allocation of resources? And also, whenever we are suggesting some policies for say setting the prices or auctions, etc., then like are there some policies which are optimal for every player, or is it that whatever policy we choose, only some players are going to gain and the other players are going to lose out? So is that the case, or can there be a situation where everyone which is optimal for everyone, that is nobody can hope to gain much by deviating from that policy? So maybe Professor Sunandan and Palash may tell a bit more about this module. But before that, I will also add about module 4, which is about text analysis. So this is mostly related to how to extract information from news reports or from social media posts or for user reviews to inform the policy making. For example, say sentiment analysis, that is a very important concept here. So suppose I want to sell a product, then then what kind of price should I offer for it, or like what kind of features should I add to that product? So one way to understand that is to see what the users who have already bought that product, what are they saying about it. So one way to understand it is to things like the social media posts which the users may have done, or the user reviews which they have posted in sites like Amazon and so on. And then again, so we know that there are certain things like the price of petrol and diesel, which depend on various international events. So if certain kinds of events happen in some parts of the world, say in Middle East, then that may affect the prices of oil worldwide. Now, how do we understand what is happening in the Middle East? So one way to do it in a smart way will be, of course, to analyze the news feed that is coming in through like the social media handles of various channels or various news channels. And so if we can analyze those and identify certain specific events, so suppose a war has broken out in Iran or Iraq, then it's likely that is going to affect the prices of petrol and diesel worldwide. So can we identify these kinds of events which can be used to frame the policy making, or in this case, by policy making, in this case I mean setting of the prices and so on. So for this purpose, what we need is text analysis and a certain amount of natural language processing, because these are all user generated content which have been written in natural languages like English. So one way to do it is, of course, is to appoint persons who will read through those huge volumes of text and then identify what is happening, what people are saying, and inform the policy makers. But that will, of course, be a very tedious job. So can that be automated? And automation of this work requires certain amount of text analysis, certain amount of natural language processing, and so on. So that is something which we will be focusing on in module 4. Okay, so Dr. Sunandan Ghosh or Palash, would you like to say a few more things about what you want to cover in the module 3?
Thank you, Dr. Mitra. Basically, when we compete in the market as a farm, as a producer, as a seller, it's not that I do it without considering what others are doing. These others can be a fellow competing farm or a seller, can be the buyer. So how these different agents interact in the market in price setting, that is quite important. And this analysis is different when I'm talking about, look, we have used certain technical words, homogeneous, heterogeneous. Homogeneous means whatever I am selling is identical to what my opponents are selling. Heterogeneous is more apt in today's world. Take, for example, the laptop that I'm using has almost similar specification to any other laptops through which you are accessing this meeting. But at the same time, there are certain differences in features for which each of these, I will say, variety or brand has their own niche or clientele in the market. So that is the heterogeneous, homogeneous is the identical. And the second part, the theoretical part is, as Dr. Mitra pointed out, auctions and bargaining. We always talk about spectrum auctions. In fact, we unknowingly enter into auctions while purchasing from, say, Flipkart or Amazon. How? That obviously I will talk during the lectures. And bargaining is a regular thing. It's a daily thing. You bargain in the fish market, you bargain in the vegetable market, you bargain with your colleagues, you bargain with your friends, kids bargain among each other over toys. So it's again a part and parcel of our daily life. But these things have strong implications in the market mechanism. And that theoretical part will be done by myself. And I hope the artificial intelligence or the modeling part, algorithm part, I think Dr. Dey will focus a little more light. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Shunandan. So yes, as he pointed out, so in many applications of this game theory, especially in artificial intelligence, means who are the players? For example, when you do a Google search, um, the okay, so in a Google search, when we search, then along with the search results, we also see ads. Now on the background, some sponsored search auction is happening. Now who are the players there? The players are the ad companies, the prospective ads who are competing for the slots in the Google search result page. Now, as you can see that there is means very little time between we submit the query or keyword and the search result that Google shows. Now, within that time, all the auctions has to be finished, has to finish, and that too with so many players. And here, that's why the computational part becomes so important. Means you can come up with a model, but because of the scale of the application, the computational part, it has to be really efficient. And so it not only it has to be fair, and it should meet some other economic properties. The computation part becomes interesting. And what I will do in this module is I'll show you some algorithmic aspects and computational challenges for various problems in market design and auction.
Thank you, Palash, and thank you, Dr. Shunandan. Professor PTC or Professor Mitra or Professor Nayak, would you like to add anything about the module 1?
No, we'll talk about it because we are starting off with module 1. So we could hear the students maybe now.
Yeah, sure. Before that, an important thing, the evaluation. So the evaluation is that, so because there are 4 modules, there will be 1 test per module. So the total 4 tests will happen, but for gradation, we will take for every student, we will take the best 3 out of these 4. And so all the tests will be of 20 marks each or 20% each. So the best 3 tests will account for 60% of the total marks. Similarly, there will be 4 assignments, that is 1 assignment per module. And in this case also, we will select the best 3 out of the 4. Each assignment will have 10% of the weighted marks each. So the assignment will account for 30% of the total marks. So 60% from test 30% from assignments, and the remaining 10% should come from attendance and class interaction. So the teaching assistants have been instructed to take note of the class attendance, and also we expect this class to be highly interactive, when the students will be expected to interrupt the lecture at any time and ask questions, or if the professor asks some questions, the students are expected to take the lead in answering, and we will keep a note of who is answering more, or who is asking more questions, and they may be rewarded accordingly. Okay? And regarding the modes of these tests and assignments, that is to say whether they will happen in the Teams or through Moodle or something else, that we are yet to finalize that. It may be different for the different tests also. So we will announce those shortly before the test. We are not declaring this at this point. And so here are some tentative dates for the test. So for the test 1, which is based on module 1, will happen in the early parts of September, say 6 to 10. The second test, which is on module 2, will happen in early October. Test 3 on module 3 may happen at the end, either at the end of October or in early November. And the test 4, which is based on the last component, that might happen right at the end of the course, which is like 15 to 20th of November. So this is roughly the course plan for the plan for the evaluation. So with that, I think now we can hear from the students. So first of all, before the students speak, maybe those of you who already have a economics background, that is, they have taken at least some course related to economics, can you please raise your hands once by using the raise hand option? 7, 8, 12, 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 30, 32, 33, 35, 'Okay, so at least half the class has some exposure to economics. So that's good then. Thank you. You may take down your hand.
Professor Mitra, may I come in?
Yes, sure.
Because many of them don't have any exposure to economics. I mean, others, other than those 36, 37 students. So either in tomorrow's class, when myself and PPC sir, we are going to talk about the course, the introductory lectures, we'll speak for half an hour each. I think in tomorrow's class, or maybe on Monday, we'll just focus a bit more on the economic side. That I'll try to take care of, because others should also have some idea about what are the different components of economics that they may study on their own, or we can also upload some materials which will benefit them.
Sure.
So that they can catch it up fast.
Sure. And how many of you have taken some course related to artificial intelligence or machine learning? Can you please raise your hands again? (16, 19, 20, 22, 25, 26, 30, 31, 32, 33, 'Okay, maybe about 33. Okay, so once again, so probably half the class have some experience.
We can find the intersection first quickly.
Yeah. So
How
please
many have done both?
Yeah.
And how many have done none? I think that would complete our data collection.
So please lower your hands now, and those who have done, like who have taken both at least one course in AI as well as at least one course related to economics, may please raise your hand. 10, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24. 24. So there are about 24, around 24 people who have done both AI and economics. And so please take down your hand. And last we will see who have neither. Those who have neither taken any course on economics nor on related to artificial intelligence, please raise your hand. Four. Okay, so there is relatively less people who have done neither artificial intelligence nor economics. Okay, fine, thank you. So you can take down your hand. Okay, so now we wanted to hear some of the students' perspectives about what are your expectations from this course. So those who join this course, what exactly do you expect to learn from this, and how do you hope to that it will benefit you? Would some of the students volunteer to answer this? Anyone wants to come forward and tell about your expectations from this course? No?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, who is speaking?
I'm Jay Krishna, sir. So basically, my interest would be how, as a business, how would I want to take my business decisions using, like, with the help of AI in the economic side of it. And I think the game theory part deals with that, so I'm pretty interested in that one.
Okay. So what is your background? You are from which department?
Sir, I'm from biotechnology department. And I'm pretty interested in business and entrepreneur side of it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Who is speaking?
Sir, I'm Pankuri.
Yeah.
So I belong to that set who has taken courses in both AI and economics before. I'm actually from the department of HSS, and I'm trying to complete the micro specialization in artificial intelligence. So in that sense, I am really looking forward to this course because it combines two of the things I'm already doing in the campus, and so I'm excited to explore the intersection of these.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pankuri. Anyone else? Yeah. Vaishnavi Singh, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I'm Vaishnavi Singh, and I'm currently doing financial engineering, the interdisciplinary course. And I'm pursuing a micro specialization in AI. So for me also, it's similar to what Pankri said. It's like intersection of both the streams that I'm really interested in. I'm also interested in economics. I've taken courses in past in economics. So I'm really looking forward to learn how these two come together and can help me in future.
Okay. Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
just one question I had, sir. Does this course count in the AI micro specialization component too?
It's not yet listed, but we are confident that it will be added at some point.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Sir, this is Aryansh Singh from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. So, I have been going through the academia, and as we see that in the earlier text, there was a lot of conventional statistics involved in economics. So now that artificial intelligence and machine learning are developing, I believe that whenever we are manipulating data on a large scale, then AI would be really helpful. So that is what I'm expecting from this course.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Aryansh. Anybody else?
Sir, I am Ashutosh Verma. I am a PhD student in Center of Excellence of AI, and I am, in addition to the looking at the possibility of intersections of both the subjects, I'm also possibly looking at there's a lot of other inputs available in public domain today. A lot of data is available. Some of them structured, some of them unstructured. AI can handle all those data, but can they be useful to economics as such or not? So that is one question that I would be.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Have any of you done any course, any projects or internships related to economics, where you use some concepts of artificial intelligence, either in industry or in university? You can tell us about such experiences.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so I'm Palkit Loya. I'm a third-year undergrad at the Department of Economics. So I've done an internship at ISB where I was working with Sritner, and there it wasn't exactly machine learning, but it involved data analytics, collection of data, and then ultimately leading to the construction of housing price index for India.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Utkarsh Pratap Singh. I'm a fifth-year undergraduate student of from the Department of Metallurgical Materials Engineering. I'm doing a minor in economics. So I've been doing a course. I've been recently pursuing micro specialization in AI. So and with regards to that, I've also been doing a project under you, Professor Advait Mitra, and it is related to the economic impacts of the COVID-19 that happened in districts of India. So we are using certain techniques to evaluate that. And yeah, the courses offered by Center for AI is really helpful in doing helpful in doing that. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Utkarsh. Any other student wants to say anything? Other professors, you want to ask something to the students?
Yeah, Adhay, I had a small suggestion looking at the interest of the students, which is quite high. I had a small suggestion. I would request the students to identify one problem statement of interest to them, which they can think is useful for, which will cover both economics and AI, and for which, they have some personal interest in solving that problem. And if we can collect these problems, that can be also part of their project or assignment or one of the assignments that we want. And from the beginning of the semester, maybe after 1 or 2 weeks, we can have these students assigned to teachers. They could be either alone or in a group of 2, maybe that will be helpful. If it is in a group of 2, then if they together identify one problem statement within the first 2 weeks, whatever it is, by looking at the net, looking at whatever is of interest, and then we can identify some mentor teachers for them. Then I think over the semester, we will come up with some very good outcomes which could knock on the doors of research. I think that would be a very good outcome. I hope the students would be interested to do that. Let us ask the students, would you be interested to form groups of 2 and identify one problem statement per group, which you all can work on throughout the semester under the guidance of some faculty members, and really come up with some outcomes? It could also be part of your evaluation. We have some evaluation marks for such sort of things, right? We could use one of them.
Assignment. So we have 30% for assignment. So like this can be used as an alternative to assignment.
Yeah, one of the assignments at least. At least we can use it as 50% of that. Does that interest the students? I just wanted to ask.
Yes, sir. It would be really helpful in exploring both the intersection. Yeah.
Yes. So I think let's do that. Let's do that. If this is a good idea, we will set up a Google form or a Teams form where you all can do that, and then we can collect all this, and then within 2-3 weeks we will come up with the assignment with the teacher allocation, and then we can start off on this activity. It will be a very good thing.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it should be best made flexible. That is, those students who are interested in this, they it will be great if they come forward to do the thing which PPCs are suggested. On the other hand, if they want to stay with the normal assignment, that is also okay, I think. Anyone else? Like any other professor? Professor Mishra or Professor Nayak, Professor Ghosh, or they want to ask anything to the students?
No, if the students have any question regarding the course or assessment or anything else, they can ask.
No questions. That's interesting.
The whole morning they must be having classes. They must have got tired.
Okay, fine. So, yeah. So, like, if you have any further questions at any time, you are free to message us. I mean, not only now, but throughout the course, you are welcome to drop a mail or to the concerned faculty member, or just ping them in MS Teams. So we want the class to be very interactive, and no one should have uncleared doubts. So please ask questions, be it related technical or logistical. Please feel free to ask the questions. So if there is no other questions to be asked right now, then shall we close this meeting? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a question. Does this course require any prerequisite as such? Any topics to before the starting of the course?
Programming and probability and statistics. These are the official prerequisites of this subject.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Apart from that, any economics topics or that we should know about beforehand?
Professor Mishra, you want to comment on that?
No, we'll be, as I said, I mean, we'll be focusing on some aspects of economics tomorrow, because tomorrow's class will be basically on the introductory insights on the course from both the perspectives, from economics as well as from AI. So both the PPC sir and myself will be there. So in my component, I'll try to emphasize on the basic economic insights that would be very, very important for this course. And again, I have another session on Monday where basically I'll be talking about the problem of multi-objective, multi-criteria, multi-stakeholder decision making. So wherever some economics would be required, some insights of economics would be required, that I'll cover that during my lecture. In addition to that, I'll be suggesting some books and some materials that you can look at.
Pulak, your class will be on Monday, na? That one?
Yes, sir. The first one would be on Monday.
Right. And
tomorrow,
then,
sir, tomorrow you and myself will be there.
Yeah. And Monday, and you are going to teach Monday and part of Tuesday or full of Monday? Part of
full Monday, mine is full, and then Friday, because Thursday is a holiday.
Okay.
So Friday, half an hour is mine and half an hour is yours.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Dr. Mitra, this is Sunandan Ghosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the students, for the third module, I hope they will have a lot of exposure to economic problems and the logic, the basic logic through which we try to arrive. Professor Mishra will agree with me, might not. Try to arrive at some equilibrium. Apart from that, the third module requires some bare minimum idea about game theory, certain basic, absolutely basic solution criteria. So for that, I will suggest some chapters, not the entire, some chapters of a specific book, which in the form of ebook or PDF, I can myself upload or I can forward to you. That logistics part, you might help me out. But I will do some, I'll just provide some material beforehand.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Ghosh.
Thank you.
So Professor Nayak is here. He can suggest the components to be looked at for, I think, public policy part he is going to cover. So he can suggest.
Yeah, I'll tell when we meet, I'll tell then, but it doesn't require much of the preparations beforehand. It's more about the public policy and planning. One part is also on planning. So that doesn't require, I believe most of them have said that they have a background of some exposure to economics. I think that would be enough for them. So when I'll deal with the things, I'll tell what books or materials they need to follow. We'll share some materials.
Okay, thank you, Professor Nayak. Okay, so we are at the end of our time. So if there is nothing else to discuss right now, maybe we can end this class, and we will meet tomorrow, same time and in the same forum, to have the first introductory lecture by Professor Mitra and Professor Chakraborty.
Yeah, somebody can stop the recording.
I'm doing it.